Hello and welcome to Sin City Chef Boy. This is your boy. We're gonna start out with some homemade collard greens with some twisted up bacon, a few little southern recipe that I got from way back when. Also gonna do a marinade for some chicken that we're gonna make for tomorrow for our 4th of July special. So let's go ahead and get started, eh? We're gonna start out with our bacon here, since that's gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes while we make everything else. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your bacon, you're going to want to roll it up to these little tight balls. You're going to want to keep doing this, just going around the pan here. I already preset the oven to 380, just so that it's already preheated and you don't have to wait for that. Had that going for about 15 minutes already, okay? And also in between time, I went on and pre-soaked some collard greens, which some people like wash them 3 or 4 times. I preferably like to go ahead and rinse them, allow them to sit in water, rinse them one more time, and then go ahead and get ready for prep. So as I'm sitting here rolling the bacon, this definitely reminds me of the childhood, coming home from school, getting ready for the holidays, and you smell the house bacon in the oven. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and start out with some boneless, skinless chicken thighs here. I went on and made my own little pre-seasoning, which has lemon pepper, garlic powder, garlic salt, onion powder, Lari seasoning salt, as well as a allspice seasoning. Now, once you mix this up, it's generally good for about 3 months. You can cover it up and put it into your cupboard. So we've got our chicken here. So the first thing that we're gonna wanna do is we're always gonna wanna wash our chicken, just because that's standard procedure anytime that you're using this. We're gonna take our seasoning mix that we have here and we're just gonna scatter it across the chicken. Now, when you're seasoning your chicken, you definitely can do as much as at your discretion, whatever you feel that your taste buds desire. I personally like to have my chicken just a wee bit saltier than normal. Now, as far as the chicken goes, you're already done. Since we've added a little bit of our seasoning, we've already washed it off. You're just gonna let that sit overnight in the refrigerator until the next day when you're ready to use. And with that, you're gonna be able to throw it on the grill. As I mentioned before, we've got our collard greens that are sitting here in the sink. Have them sitting in for about an hour now. I've already rinsed them off. So what you're gonna wanna do is just go ahead and grab a bunch of greens. Doesn't really matter how much you grab. You're gonna wanna bunch them up. Now everybody has a different way of doing them. When I was younger, I was always taught not to cut them. However, just from cooking it lately, I've just learned to go ahead and cut them up. I mean, it comes out to be a little bit more. It seems like a lot, but greens cook down to just about nothing. So you're gonna want to do is you just have them all bunched up, no special way, no special type of order. You're just gonna see, you're gonna get kind of like a little spiral effect with them because you kind of have them layered. Also, there are some people who don't like to have the stem on their greens. You can still put the stem with the greens because they're gonna cook overnight, so the stem is gonna literally be so soft that you're not gonna know the difference. Alright. So it looks like we got our greens all cut up. Gonna push it back over here into the water and let it sit. Now in here I have some fresh chicken stock, which is just really chicken broth. You can either make your own homemade one, or you can just get canned chicken broth. It definitely is at your discretion. So all you're gonna do is you're just gonna wanna pour this in there. Now I personally use about 4 to 7 cups of chicken stock, but it is at your discretion. Some people use water for their greens. However, I do think that the taste comes out better when you use chicken broth. It gives it more flavor, a more rich taste, versus water is very nice. And then we're just gonna go ahead and chop. Now when you chop it up, again, there's never ever going to be a special way to chop them up. Some people have a preference. I personally just chop them up small enough so that they're not overbearing in the food that I'm preparing. And in this case, you're going to want to make sure that they're not too big, because you're going to saute these and you're going to toss them into your texture, flavor. I mean, who doesn't like butter? So while you're kind of letting that just cook a little bit. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare to get the greens over into our crock pot. Now when you go ahead and put the greens in the crock pot, the greens are going to cook throughout the night. So you're gonna leave it on low and you can cook it for about 8 hours, and that's gonna allow all the flavors to sink in that we're about to. Do you remember our mix that I've made, the seasoning mix? We're gonna take this along with some barbecue chips that are crushed up. And then with these, you're just gonna wanna put some on top. Now don't worry, these chips won't show up in your food as the night progresses and they sit and they cook. Everything's gonna dissolve inside of it. All the flavors, everything is gonna settle, and it's gonna be a nice and yellow gold tint. What we're gonna do is gonna go ahead and put this on top. It's gonna, as it's sitting, it's just gonna start to basically dissolve, but not really dissolve. It's just gonna shrink. Everything's gonna shrink up, and then we'll be adding. So it looks like our bacon is just about done, or just about as much as we need it to be. So this is what it's gonna come out. It's just gonna be some nice, thick, almost fried rolls. And what you're gonna wanna do is just let those sit and cool down, and then you're gonna set those in the collard greens. Now, just to conclude for the night, since this is the premiere of Sin City Chef Boy, we're gonna let our greens in our crock pot sit overnight. You're gonna store your bacon. We've got our boneless chicken that's sitting inside of the refrigerator. That's gonna be marinating and letting all the flavors sit all night. Now, tomorrow when we return, what we're gonna be doing is making some grilled bacon wrapped hot dogs with sauteed onions topped with cheese, ketchup, mustard. We're even gonna have some collard greens with our bacon that we're gonna toss in there tomorrow. And then we also have our chicken. Gonna do a barbecue sauce for some barbecue chicken, a homemade potato salad, and I'm gonna show you how to do a box macaroni and cheese with our little twist in there to make someone think that it's homemade. So until then, thank you for tuning in for tonight's Sin City Chef Boy, and I'll catch you tomorrow for 4th of July. Welcome back to Sin City Chef Boy. Last time we left off, we were making some collard greens that we were cooking overnight in the crock pot. As I had told you, I went on and I put the bacon in early this morning. I let it slow cook on low. As you can see here, the texture looks nice and tender. I even cut up some fresh garlic, put some bacon in there, shredded it up. Looks nice and mixed, and it even cooked down just like I told you, right? Alright, then here I have some water that's boiling. We're gonna do our macaroni and cheese. And I even got to go ahead and start the grill outside, and we got some chicken going. You want to go ahead and check it out? Okay, we're out here doing the grill. Got some chicken going on the grill here. Just gonna flip it over. Alright, we're gonna let these cook for a couple minutes. We're gonna go ahead and run inside, and we're gonna check on our pasta and get that started as well. So what I'm going to do is take my macaroni, go ahead and put it in here, and just let that start cooking away. I've already got the oven preheated because we're going to go ahead and bake that when it's all done being made. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and roll the bacon up into our hot dogs and get that into the oven. Now with these, it's real simple. You're just going to spiral it up. Now with these, you're just going to want to leave them in there for about 30 minutes. It doesn't really, I mean, you're just not really timing it. You have to go off of basically eyeballing. That's how I do everything. Not necessarily a timer. You want to get that nice char grill taste. What you're going to want to do is take the chicken off the foil and just stick it directly onto the grill. And that's gonna give it that nice grilled taste that you're looking for, which is obviously the whole purpose of having grilled chicken. Now we'll just come back out. You'll leave it on there for another 5 minutes on that side and let it cook. Now with the macaroni and cheese, as you're cooking it, for this specific type, because we're gonna bake it, it doesn't have to cook all the way. However, you do want to cook it enough just so that the noodles do start to inflate, so that they're not so hard. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and turn this on our little pan over here. We're gonna put some butter in and saute some onions. That's about a half a tablespoon or so. Again, I just eyeball and never really actually use anything that I have to necessarily measure. I just go based off of my taste buds and how I like things to generally taste. Alright. So now what you're gonna do is just take the onions I chopped up a few onions, not too many. Here probably is about 1/4 cup or so. And you're just gonna toss that in with the butter. And then I grabbed also some salt and pepper base that I have here. And you're just gonna wanna sprinkle that over the top just to give it a little bit of taste, just a little bit of flavor, you know, because onions tend to be a little bit bland. And while that's going and getting heated up, we're gonna check on our pasta, which is make sure that they're not overcooked. So that one's about done over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these off. Alright, so if you wanna go ahead and follow me in, we're gonna take the chicken in. This is all complete. We're gonna go ahead and put the macaroni in. Now again, this is just a regular box macaroni and cheese, nothing special, nothing homemade. Just something simple that you can add an extra ingredient so that you're not having to go that extra mile of making homemade. Got some liquid cheese here. I'm gonna put that all in there. Now here we have cream cheese. This is the best part. Now the cream cheese, it just adds another flavor to it. Now you're gonna notice as you're mixing your cream cheese with the regular cheese that it's gonna be slightly clumpy. You just keep working through it, and then evenly distribute it throughout the macaroni and cheese. And it's going to end up blending fairly well. Very thick. And you can go ahead and just take a little bit of the salt and pepper base that I mentioned that we have mixed over here. Just sprinkle it over the top of the macaroni and cheese. Not only will it give it some flavor, it also allows you to just give it a little bit of a look from the pepper being black, counteracting off of the cheese, which is yellow. So what I'll do is go ahead and stick this in the oven. No specific time when you're sticking it in the oven. I would just say 10 minutes at the most, because it's already been cooked with the water, and then with the heat, it's gonna make it just. We have our celery here, we have some garlic, and then we have 4 potatoes, and we have 4 eggs. The recipe calls for all of these items along with a 1/3 cup of relish, and then here's some mustard, and I just need to go ahead and grab a 1/3 cup of the over here to our eggs. Now I have 4 eggs. Okay, I'm just gonna cut it in half and then just cut pieces. Mayonnaise. Now, it called for a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise for this particular recipe. There's many different recipes online that I had looked at and searched. So again, I'm gonna eyeball it, and I'm going to do it according to my taste buds. Now, I've got that in there. Calls for a 1/3 cup of relish. Celery and garlic. The garlic I did go ahead and freshly cut up from a garlic clove. And mix this up. So we're gonna go ahead and just set that to the side. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and set it in the refrigerator because it is now complete. That is a really quick, easy throw together that you can do, and obviously you see the ingredients aren't too much. Hey, welcome back. All right, so I just went on and took the macaroni and cheese out the macaroni and cheese to put a little finishing touch on it. Is just do a little bit of Kobe Monterey Jack cheese over the top. Can never have too much cheese on macaroni and cheese ever. Now that's gonna give it that taste like as if you just made that homemade. Oven here and check on. Looks like our hot dogs are almost done, not just yet. I know you guys are very curious to see how they come out. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and start with some deviled eggs. Now, the deviled eggs are really, really simple. It only has a couple of ingredients that we're gonna be using today. I wanna take some of the mayonnaise. A teaspoon of white distilled vinegar. Now I went on and got that. That's gonna go in here. I think it's just gonna add a little bit to it so it's moist and not so dry. Now here we also have a teaspoon and a half of mix all of this together. And then it's gonna start to form and look like what a deviled egg looks like. That deviled egg mix, should I say. Now what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take your fork. You're gonna go on each egg. Alright, so I'm almost done here. Just got 2 more, which is perfect because I'm actually running out. Well, generally you just add just a splurge of paprika. That's just gonna give it the color that you want, that you see. Not too much, you don't wanna burn anybody's taste buds. Now that that's done, what we're gonna do is go ahead and grab our bacon wrapped hot dogs. I let them stand there just a little bit longer. As I mentioned, I also have put the chicken in there so that it can stay warm while we got everything else ready. Now here, as you can see, we've got our bacon wrapped hot dogs. They're nice and crispy. All right. Well, it looks like it's time to get everything set up. So I'm gonna take a break real quick, get everything set up, and then when you come back, I'll be able to show you a presentation of what it's gonna look like. All right, and we're back for our final part of Sin City Chef Boy. It looks like everything is finished. So I went on and made a plate here. We got the homemade potato salad. We have our fresh deviled eggs. Then we have our baked macaroni and cheese with cream cheese in it, topped with shredded cheese, our collard greens, and our grilled chicken. Now, just to do a couple little additions if you want to feel really fancy, just gonna add those sauteed onions that I had mentioned. You're gonna put it right over the top. And if you want to push it way over the top, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and grab some cheese. Now, what you're gonna do is just put a little bit of cheese on there, and you're all done, and everything looks amazing. Well, I do want to thank you guys for joining Sin City Chef Boy. This is me, Georgie Boy. Tune in again next week. I'll be doing some desserts and new things. Thanks again for coming for the first time. Hello, thank you for joining with Sin City Chef Boy. This is me, your boy Georgie Boy. Really excited for you guys to see my first episode. It definitely was more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Doing this first episode, I just was thinking it was me behind a camera, but there's so much more when you're cooking with food and you're doing something that's live. It's not just like, oh, I'm behind the camera, I'm cooking, and if I make a mistake, oh well. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to make a mistake in front of my viewers. However, it's inevitable when you're doing something that's live, especially when I'm not replacing those props back and forth to redo the scene. So when I'm shooting, that's it. That's what it is. I'm really excited for you guys to see my first episode. Regardless of how good it is, I know that this is a start and this is something that I have to progress and I have to grow, and I want you guys to grow with me. A lot of times we see people who are on TV who are grown adults, and Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, and Rick Ross, they all have these stories that we hear, but we've never really seen their story on how they got started. Or you just hear about somebody, and I want you guys to actually see how I'm starting, what I'm doing. I'm self-producing, I'm doing a cooking show, I'm going to start my own talk show pretty soon here. I want to be more diligent, especially with starting this episode of Sin City Chef Boy. It's allowed me to see the dire need to be very, very punctual, crucial, and very much so diligent when doing a show. Because obviously I want you guys to be interested. It's exciting for me also because this is the beginning for me. This is something that I'm going to take with me and I'm going to use it to grow. This is my own way of making a platform. It's my own way of starting something. Like I said, I want you guys to grow with me and see what I go through. I want you guys to know that anything that you want to do, you can do. And not just somebody saying, oh, well, I started out here and I did this and I did that. I'm showing you, you're watching it. Whether you're laughing now or you're rooting me on, it's a start, it's a trial and error. I have to start somewhere. Just like people who are rappers, who are singers, who have those types of talents, you have to find a way to put yourself out there and how to network. I want to take a more aggressive approach. I mean, I'm not perfect and I'm not the best, but if I keep doing this and I keep putting it out there, I keep hearing critiques, you guys send me comments, you ask me to make things, I'm getting practice, I'm getting the knowledge, I'm getting the things that I need, and I want you guys to see that, and I want you guys to grow with me. So again, I really want to thank you guys for joining me for the first episode of Sin City Chef Boy. And a lot of people have been asking me, when am I going to bring Spilling the Tea with Georgie Boy? That is to be coming soon. Give me about 2 weeks and I'll have a premiere date for you. Again, I want to thank you. Catch me this week. I'm going to be making some chicken lo mein, possibly shrimp. It just depends on how I feel it that day. But it's going to be really, really fun and I can't wait for you guys to see. And it's just going to get better as we go. You guys have a great day.